What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video of the Point After Podcast. We came to the final preview video that I will be doing for 2022, the Alabama Crimson Tide. If you know me, you know I'm an Alabama fan, but I'm removing all bias for this video and giving you an honest opinion because most of you are probably casuals and don't understand the full depth of college football and how this thing operates. You're saying, oh, Alabama's going to go 15-0 and win the national championship. You're probably more worried about Texas and Texas A&M and somebody than other people. So I'm going to tell you why that's not the case. Honestly, didn't even take any notes for this video. I'll probably look up the depth chart and maybe the schedule later on. But to be honest, I think Alabama ranks 48th in the country with 69% returning production, which is kind of blasphemous, honestly, because even though you return 69% of your team, you plug and play guys that you're not going to miss a beat. I say that like Jahmyr Gibbs is replacing Brian Robinson. Eli Ricks will step up at the cornerback position at some point. If he doesn't start, he'll definitely get a lot of playing time. Tyler Harrell replaces Jamison Williams, the Louisville transfer. That's going to be a name you need to know. Jermaine Burton will replace John Mechie. And then there's also another guy that you need to keep an eye on. Wide receiver Trayshawn Holden. He absolutely destroyed in the scrimmage the other day. I think he had 3 touchdowns in last Saturday's scrimmage. So Trayshawn Holden is another name to keep an eye on. And then, of course, Earl and Ja'Cory Brooks. So that should round out Alabama's wide receiver room. And then you have, of course, Cameron Latu and a stacked offensive line. I didn't even mention Bryce Young yet. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody in college football knows who Bryce Young is. And I think as long as he stays healthy, you're looking at a pretty substantial season. Even if he gets hurt, I think Jalen Milroe is good enough to get the job done and probably lead us to the playoffs yet again. Defensively, you're looking at the best pass rush in college football, probably the best D-line, absolutely the best outside linebacker core. Will Anderson and Dallas Turner are going to wreak havoc on Texas. Texas has all kinds of problems on their offensive line, so expect Will Anderson and Dallas Turner to eat. Steve will probably not keep Quinn in the pocket too often that game. I'd expect to see Quinn on the run. Pretty decent amount. Secondary-wise, you still have Helms back, you have Malachi back, you have Jordan Battle coming back, you have Kool-Aid back. So there's a lot of people in the secondary who will be able to play roles that played roles last year, so you won't miss a beat there either. Swapping to their schedule, though, I mentioned a second ago that there's a lot of casuals when it comes to Alabama fans that don't understand the full scope of college football and how things work. You look at our schedule and you think, oh, Texas A&M is ranked number 6. Texas A&M will not be a threat to Alabama in 2022. I'm telling you right now, especially after last year. Texas will not be a threat to Alabama, especially in week 2. Yes, we're going to Austin. Yes, it'll be a tough environment. Yes, it's going to be hot as hell. Texas is no threat to Alabama in 2022. I'm telling you right now. Sure, they'll score some points, but at least on paper, they are no match. They're still turning around the whole program there, and turning around the program takes a lot more than just one off season. So when you got to cut the bad apples, get the new guys in, and they will take time to progress. By the time they reach the SEC, Texas will be a real threat. Looking at the rest of the schedule, though, let me pull it up really quick. Utah State, Logan Bonner. Logan Bonner, he's got an arm. Don't sleep on him. Former Arkansas State quarterback transfer to Utah State with Blake Anderson last year. Utah State is going to be a really good team. They could honestly, and I hope they do, surprise a lot of you next Saturday. Then we go to Texas. Like I said, Alabama wins that one. I don't know what the spread is, but give me that. UL Monroe, 3 o'clock on September 17th, and then Vanderbilt right after that. Alabama's going to start 4-0. Then you need to be concerned. Arkansas is a really, really good football team. A lot of people are not, they're kind of under the radar to the casual community. Arkansas, especially in Fayetteville, is a game that you need to watch, and you probably will be uneasy while watching it. Texas A&M comes to town. Probably a night game, if I had to guess. The night game on CBS. That will be another Alabama bloodbath. You know how these revenge games go. Alabama at Tennessee is another game that could be very scary to a lot of you. Tennessee's going to have to open their season quick and get things going. They go to Pitt, and then they play somebody else pretty early on. that is not bad. I play LSU and Florida back-to-back, so LSU is that other game I've got on their schedule marked. And oddly enough, after Alabama plays Tennessee, they play Mississippi State. Then they go to Baton Rouge. Those are the 3 games. They're all on the road, and they're all against pretty decent opponents. Arkansas is in my opinion, they're a top 15 team. They could finish 8-4, and they're still a top 15 team in the country. That's just how tough their schedule is. They open with Cincinnati, and even though Cincinnati lost Desmond Ridder and Jerome Ford and Sauce, Cincinnati's still going to be pretty good this year. The line is in favor of Arkansas, and I kind of like the line, but Cincinnati's still going to be a really good team. And then just Arkansas' schedule, the SEC West is brutal. Like I said, you're going to Knoxville, playing in Knoxville at Tennessee, and that one again, Tennessee's a good football team, and if they get it going and Henry Hooker plays anywhere close to what he did last year, Tennessee's going to be another threat. Mississippi State, Mike Leach, they still locked a little bit. Mike Leach needs some help on the recruiting trail or something of that nature for Mississippi State to kind of take that next step. Until that happens, I think he's going to be a bottom 4 SEC West team pretty much every year. And I absolutely love Mike Leach. There's no problem with the air raid in the SEC. I think if Steve Sarkisian swapped to the air raid, he would have much success with it. It's mostly just a recruiting thing, and you're in the SEC West kind of deal for Mississippi State. So don't discredit Mike Leach and respect the raid. Brian Kelly, first year at LSU, that should be another good game, especially in Baton Rouge. Jaden Daniels, Brett Nussmeier. I can't think of his name, but the 2 quarterback system that Brian Kelly will have at LSU is going to be, a handful for a lot of teams, and Alabama will be coming off a bye week for that, so I hope, we have time to get healthy if we need to. That's going to be another good game. Then you go on the road to Ole Miss. So I'm telling you, your hardest games are all road games. You go at ranked Arkansas, at should be ranked Tennessee, at LSU, who will be established themselves at that point in the season. Right after that, you go at Ole Miss. Finish up with Austin Peay and then Auburn. Again, I don't think Alabama's going to drop a road game. I don't think Nick Saban drops a game against a former assistant like he did last year, where he dropped 2 in 1 year. His first 2 ever. Like I said, I don't think you lose to Texas A&M. I don't think you lose to Texas. If you lose, it's going to be one of those 3 road games on October 1st, 15th, or November 5th. Those are the 3 games you need to keep an eye on. But in all honesty, Alabama should find their way back to the college football playoff. And to be completely frank with you, if they get to the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of high-scoring games because Georgia's offense is going to be 10 times better than it was last year. And I was, thinking about this to myself before I started recording. This is a rebuilding year for Georgia, just like last year was for Alabama. Georgia's going to make the playoff, or very well make the SEC championship and probably the playoffs. This is still a rebuilding year for Georgia, even if they go 10-2 or 11-1. Ohio State's best team offensively in college football. Marvin Harrison, Smith and Jigba, C.J. Stroud, Travion Henderson, that room is unreal. They probably match up better offensively than Alabama when you take away the O-line. Utah is another team I have my eye on for the college football playoff. Michigan will be, again, better than they were last year, in my opinion. Clemson should be back in the right track, especially if DJ even if DJ doesn't play well, Cade Klubnik should get the job done there and do a very good job for them. And then NC State, if they upset Clemson October 1st, NC State's another team to watch out for. So there's 6 teams out there that I think can make the college football playoff. 7 actually if you count Utah. So should be a pretty good year for Alabama. The college football playoff will probably be the most stacked it's ever been in terms of quality of teams. Like, I think if you took the 4 teams that make the playoff this year, rank them all time, they will be up in the top 15. I don't know, maybe top 20. I don't know exactly where everybody would rank yet, because right now this is all preseason talk. But Alabama should be playing for the national championship. They should win the national championship. Defensively, they're the best team in college football. Offensively, they're the second best. So on paper, everything looks good. As long as everybody stays healthy, it should be a pretty good season for Alabama. But that'll wrap up the preview videos for this postseason or preseason from the Point After Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as we get into game preview videos coming out next week, and then some best bets and fantasy football stuff and things of that nature. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on Monday.